Cucumber nets are quite useful since they provide support in all vertical directions and allow cucumbers to basically wind their way through, as opposed to the old-fashioned horizontal 4 and 5 wire systems used in Hawaii before the mid-60s and early 70s. The older systems required the use of twist stems and the additional labor of tying them. Hawaiian growers started using the cucumber nets after someone noticed their use in Japan. I used them as well when I was a commercial veg crop farmer in the 70s in Hawaii. I'm still using them today in the land where they first were used. Stringing out a cucumber net can turn into a literal nightmare if you're not careful. Most Japanese farmers have their wife or friend help them, so my neighbors tend to be a little surprised each year when I string them up by myself. I use a net with a 24 centimeter, about 9.5-inch mesh that measures 1.8 meters, about 79 inches in width, and 18 meters, 59 feet in length. This is quite ample for a 50-foot row. I use 14-gauge wire for the end post support wires and 16-gauge for the net wires. Back in Hawaii, I used to use 12-gauge for the supports and 14-gauge for the net wires, but that was because my rows were usually over 200 feet long. For the shorter 50 to 70-foot rows I plant here in Japan, I found that 14-gauge for the supports and 16-gauge for the horizontal wires is sufficient and survives even some of the fierce typhoons that sometimes blow through. I like to string the bottom wire before the top, but that's a personal preference that isn't ironclad. The really important point is to stretch the net out on the ground to make sure that it isn't twisted. After untwisting the net, carefully put the wire through the top loop and then, without twisting it, put the bottom loop through the bottom wire. Loosely tie the end strings to the support poles. Do not use knots that will be difficult to untie at this point. If the net has become twisted in spite of your best efforts, you may have to take it off and thread it through again after aligning it, in which case untying tight knots can be very frustrating. Once you've determined that the orientation is correct, untie the fastening strings that keep the net from unfurling. Pull the net along the wire while shaking it to enable easy unraveling. When you reach the opposite support pole, fasten the net to it. You can put in the interim stakes later if you're rushed and need to transplant right away, although it's better to put them in before transplanting.